So good for the enthusiast.
Yes.
As long as they don't get too serious about it.
Exactly. Because the day you start thinking racetrack, then you're going to want one of the more serious golfs. And this is not that. This is meant to be a car, a family car that's also fun to drive.
Right.
So practical enough to live with every day. And that's the bottom line about this car for me. Early morning, we were at Natrex and we were first to go out onto the handling track.
Okay.
And that's where you can say that you start understanding where the halo around the GTI comes about.
Right.
Because, front wheel drive cars with this much power, when you're driving them hard, the problem invariably is understeer. Right? Now, this thing is surprisingly sharp. It's surprisingly direct. And so what I mean by that is, when you're going into a corner, typically you're going to be light on the throttle so as to not overwhelm the front tires.
Right.
And then slide out.
Yeah.
Right? In this, it's amazing how much you can stay on the power and play with the line. Yeah, and it continues to hold. And not just that, you can play with the line, saying that I'm going to use more power now. Like you can change how much you're doing. And it was like, wow, this is cool. Like I get it. And this handling track, the interesting thing is, it was not a racetrack. So the grain of tarmac was the coarser variety that you have on a regular road.
Right.
And the track was actually surrounded by what would be like a normal highway surroundings. So it had mud, not smooth mud. Some places there were rocks.
Bisleri bottles.
Huh?
Bisleri bottles.
No, thankfully
Discarded
not.
plastic bags.
No, not that real.
Plates,
no. But there were plenty of rocks to do damage in case you got things wrong. So it created a very real world scenario in which you were driving the car. It didn't have potholes though. Some of the corners had curbs which had these nice big ribs on it to test out the suspension a bit. So it was an interesting place to get to know the GTI. Because that for me set the context that if you were to take this and drive it on a racetrack, you would come away saying that this is a great car, but it's not going to hit the spot.
Right.
But if you were to think about it as a car that you're going to drive on the road and drive it quickly, it's going to be an immensely satisfying car.
So good for the enthusiast.
Yes.
As long as they don't get too serious about it.
Exactly. Because the day you start thinking racetrack, then you're going to want one of the more serious golfs. And this is not that. This is meant to be a car, a family car that's also fun to drive.
Right.
So practical enough to live with every day. And that's the bottom line about this car for me. That you can have fun, and people who are buying this are going to drive this on the road, travel with it, and they will still be able to enjoy it.
Right.
Now in this, the one thing is that yes, we drove it on a test track which didn't have potholes, but there were two situations. One with the curbs. You'd expect going over those curbs, you know what it feels like going over curbs in a tight car, right? You'll go
the whole thing jars,
It didn't do that. And the other thing was, there was this one place near one of the event areas where there was this large plastic carrier, so to speak, through which cables were running. And it was, I think I may have a pic of it, just to size it up. It was that high.
Yeah, I know exactly how high because I just came back from somewhere where they were using those to represent speed breakers.
Achha.
And there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them.
So going over it, it cleared it easily enough, and going over it, it didn't feel as, how should I put it? It didn't feel as evil as I expected it could be.
There is absorption.
Yes. So the rear, what surprises you is that the rear doesn't have any give. The rear is as tight as the front. And that's one of the reasons why in those corners, in that handling track section,
you can do so much.
Yeah,
you can do so much.
Because you could just turn it in and the rear would follow nice and tight. It was a very enjoyable experience. And why? What are the granular things I would think about that would make it racier and fizzier? The steering, for instance, direct. It's direct. And the thing is, because it was a narrow track and it was broken up into sections. So I was using one section of it. So at the end of it, there were cones and you had to make a U-turn. And you'd go there and turn it. And you realize when you turn it in further, it turns in quicker.
Right.
So it turns in really quickly. So I think it has a variable geometry steering
Sounds
rack.
like it, yeah.
So once you turn off the center, it starts getting quicker and it feels really sharp then. So that steering does a fantastic job of pointing you, but that sense of granularity of feedback is not that much.
Correct. That is a clip from MotorInc. And what that means is if you'd like to see more of these, you can do two things. One is stay on this channel, subscribe and watch more, or you can come to the main MotorInc channel where you'll find a much longer video that discusses this idea in a lot more detail.